So most of us are in school setups, as you just showed. And how many of you are currently doing the career guidance role? Not yet. In administration. So those of you who are in the career guidance role, right? What are some of the tasks? Let's just what are some of the tasks that you do? Yeah, just chip in. Yeah. So the extreme amount of information, right? Knowledge. Yeah, absolutely. So this we have to know it all, and that's such a burden, right? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And on which date is the form for this college coming out? Like, like all the numbers and schedules right here. Like I'm a supercomputer, right? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Everything. And this is not one country, it's not India. It's like 50, 60 countries. And then everything that's happening in politics, in economics, in psychology, in biology, you're just supposed to know it all, right? Don't you know it already? Like, and then tell me practically. I mean, I'm old and my memory is not that great, right? So I'll come back to you, but then I forget which child I had to go back to, right? With that information. So now I have that information, but who am I going to give it to? So there's a lot of layers, right? And if they're coming to your office, of course, you make a note and you do all that fancy stuff. But if it's in the corridor, like, give me a break. I don't remember every child's name in every single section of the child. Absolutely. Yes. Right, right. That's a good idea. I'm going to start doing that. Yeah, kind of, kind of. Yeah. So I'm actually not doing that with behavioral counseling anymore. We have another person who does that completely. But yeah, I can come up to how we use behavioral counseling in career counseling. That's also very interesting.
Quite a help in that.
Yeah, yeah. It's a big asset. All right. So since I think we have time, so let's start the formal this thing. So that's Nisha ma'am.
Hello.
So and that's Shraddha. Shraddha ma'am. I call her Shraddha. She's also junior from school. So she works with the girls' school. So those of you who are not familiar with our school, we work in a school called Mayo College. We are going to be 150 years old in 1.5 years. So we've been around a really long time. You have? Okay. Absolutely, right. So we have alumni all over the world. People know us. Let's start with that. We've been around for donkey's years. And ma'am teaches business studies. Accounting. And sorry, the other teacher who helps is the business studies teacher. You can just see I'm pathetic at remembering things.
Okay.
Yeah, so Nisha ma'am does that. Shraddha ma'am works with the girls' school. We also have a girls' school. I know we are little archaic. We started 150 years old, so give us that. We have the boys. We've always had the boys' school. That's what was started 148 years away. But then we started the girls' school. It's about 40 years old now, 35. And ma'am heads that, right? And we are two parallel institutions with separate everything, including our curriculums are separate, actually. We are a CBSE school, they're an ICS. Both of us are now moving towards Cambridge. Because they're two separate schools. We practically don't have anything in common in terms of our administration, except that we have a governing council, which is common for both the schools, right? So we are two parallel institutions. Ma'am, shall we start? So I got into this journey, and this always has to start a little bit with my journey. I got into this as a behavioral counselor. So I actually retired from work, and that's another story for another time. And I wanted to work in a school setting. It's always been my passion. And I decided to start working in And at that time, my skills were behavioral counseling, right? So I came in as a behavioral counselor, as an add-on behavioral counselor. And then we said, okay, a lot of the issues that you see in behavioral counseling on a day-to-day basis can actually very effectively be addressed with a good career and college counseling program, right? I mean, that is something that I felt very, very strongly about, that a lot of the behavioral issues that we were looking at could be really sorted with high quality career and college counseling. So that's when went, retrained, skilled, all of that, and came back. And then uh, and then there was this what we were talking about earlier. So much to do. It's like, and if you're doing it all and you're trying to also this beautiful program that you want to implement. So in a way, in an average school, if you have say 100 kids per class, you have 400, like for me, 400 kids in 9th, 10th, and 11th and 12th. Let's assume we're only working with 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th. 400 children in my school. In many schools, it looks like 1,000, 1,200, even 5,000 kids. I know it's crazy out there, right? And then for handling 400 kids, you would have at least 8 English teachers, or maybe 6 English teachers, or you would have, say, 3 math teachers. You are expected to be doing all of this by yourself. You're supposed to go into classrooms. You're also supposed to do parallel. It's like telling the math teachers, you also have half an hour for every child every week on an individual basis. They can't do that, right? You don't expect them to do that. But you're expecting a career counselor to do double the classes that a math teacher would average do because of the number, and then also take out individual time for every child. It's impossible, right? It's like saying math teacher will now take every child separately and do 30-minute coaching individually a week. Not possible. Even if it's just 12th grade, not possible, right? So the thing is that when you're trying to do it all, and then the additional burden is, which is very, very unique to career guidance, is what you've learned in the best career guidance program is not enough. On a daily basis, new things are coming out. So on a daily basis, you must take out time, absolutely must take out time to relearn, to know more things, to find out more, So it is like a triple whammy, yes.
But ma'am, when we start our journey, something like this,
Yeah.
we all are so excited, enthusiastic. Oh, I can do it. So that was a situation when ma'am started.
Those of you who know me, I'm like, I can,
Give me, yes.
I'm
I
going to
can
manage
do it.
everything. Like, this is it. I can do it, right? And yeah. And then we've already kind of mentioned this. So one part is the tasks that we are doing, but the other part is all the people that we are managing. So we are hired into the school thinking you're going to work with grade 11th and 12th and do a little bit of work with 9th and 10th. That's what you think you're doing. But actually, you're working with parents. Okay? You're working with universities in a big way if you're doing career guidance, right? You're working with all these bloody vendors. All the vendors, right? And there are so many calls every day. We have this product, take this, and they're all beautiful products. There's nothing wrong with them. But the point is, you have to really every time a vendor is giving a pitch to you, it's half an hour to 3 hours of your time gone. And then if you like it enough and you want to follow up on it, it's another 3 hours gone, or 6 hours, or even a month gone sometimes. So it's a lot of work. And then, of course, because all of us know this is about networking. The profession is about networking. So you've got to be out there. You should have social media posts. You should be responding to other counselors when they have queries. You should be asking queries to other people. So there's time for all of that, right? So there's a lot of other communities you're working with, and then your own school faculty, staff, administration, because you have to constantly be advocating for yourself. Your department, nobody knows what you need. Nobody knows what to expect out of you. So there's a lot of things you need to be doing, a lot of communities you need to be working with.
So when you're working, then this is the schedule which you need to follow, and this is all what you do as a single man army.
So anybody who's having problem with administration, take a click of this one. This is what I do.
If you see an academic teacher, they are dealing with their one subject and some number of classes. And but when you see a counselor, look at her. Oh my goodness. So single man army handling everything day and night.
Right?
Right?
So there's a lot of things involved in our lives, right? Ma'am.
So now apart from that, ma'am.
And then to do all this, these are the skills that you need to have, right? So you're like a goddess with like 40, 50 arms, literally, right? Because you've got to be tech savvy. Like, which teacher needs to be tech savvy? Tell me. Not really. You can be a great, absolutely great biology teacher. If you're tech savvy, great for you. But if you're not, you can survive. Okay. As a counselor, you can't survive. You have to be tech savvy. Okay. There's no choice there. You have to have everything else. Like, just tell me which skill is not required here.
And the last,
This strategy, planning, organizing all the time. Absolutely.
right.
What next? Yeah. You see, so the favorite thing my principal tells me is you're seeing the tree. Where are the woods?
Yes, where are the woods?
It's constantly asking me that, right?
So
And-
apart from this is the very important point, which is this. You
That
really
you're
have
always
to know
talking about,
everything.
right?
How come you're not aware, ma'am? Teachers, ma'am, how do you not know about it? Principal, director, and everybody. You have to know this. You should be updated. So this is what is expected from us.
And
Yes?
then also things like, where did all your alumni go last year? So where is that boy placed?
Yes.
And like, God, I don't remember.
Just imagine 150 years we'll be completing and they want us to have record of each and every one.
And,
How is it
and
possible?
in 100 years, you have no records. And suddenly I'm supposed to like dish them out to you, you know? Like, how?
Yes.
Absolutely, right? So
This is happening.
and this is an actual snapshot of my calendar from back then. So this is an actual snapshot of what my what my my personal calendar looked like. And if you notice, it goes right into 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock in the night, right? Because there is so much to be done, right? And this is self-inflicted. Nobody is telling me. Nobody is telling Shraddha ma'am that you must attend these classes and you must do this. But it's just because you know that if you are to function effectively as a career counselor, you just have to do all of this, right?
And different time zones.
Absolutely.
Foreign universities have their own
Own
time zones. So we have to accommodate them. That's the reason at times
So if you
we
see
are having
walking
meetings.
all the university meetings.
Yes.
So that I can see UMass there and I can see university, something mentioned there. So yeah. But this is back in 2020 or something. I don't remember the year. And then after doing all of this,
But this is what we are getting.
okay, after all of this brilliant work and this day-to-day work, and then this is like,
So
okay,
ma'am was like
fine.
this, right, in the beginning. Now she is like this. God knows after this where she will be. So
Right. So, and this is not only true in my school. It's not true to me only. This is actually what most career counselors feel like, right? What we did was we reached out to career counselors and they put in, we wanted to know what their journeys were like, right? And the first most important aspect of that journey is, what's your role within the school setup right now? And if you notice it here, this 30% are pure career counselors. That's a big jump. When I started in 2018-19, there were not even 3 or 4 schools that had a full-time career counselor in place, right? In my school, it's a big school with a big heart and decent resources. I had to really justify why I wanted to be just a career counselor, you know? So that was something not there. We have 30% of us are career counselors, that's official role. But there is 42% who are working full-time at a school, but are doing other roles.
just imagine we just showed the slide, what all work a counselor does. And apart from that, they expect us to do some other duties as well. Is it humanly possible?
That's you, right?
Right?
I saw you.
Please raise your hands who are doing that.
Most of you.
Oh my God.
See?
So can we have a round of applause for all of us? Yay. Yes.
Right? And that's the reality of it. And not let's not even let's not even mention other those bright colored rainbows where there is nothing, you know.
My goodness.
Yeah. So somehow our school administrations, and there's some great ones out there, so it's not all, but they feel that we don't have enough on our plates. Right? And it is, they can be saddled with much more stuff than what we're already doing. So that's one. The other part is because this was about finding teams, right? That was the primary question we are addressing. Now, again, this again from the counselors, right? What they're saying. Look at the green bars. Nisha ma'am, you want to talk about
Yes,
this
of
one?
course. I will love to talk about this. So this is the green bar we are concerned about. And it's not a hidden fact. We all know that. But if we can shift this bar to at least to this red or to this orange, that will be so, so good for us. Right? So they are basically assistant, part-time, or they can be ad hoc basis given to us. So we feel relieved. So they are part of our team. But we will see what kind of support actually we are getting from ad hoc and part-time as well. So
We'll talk
the
about
next
that in
one.
the next one.
Yes.
So basically, what we're saying is that people are not assisting us enough in our thing. And then when you look at, so when you see this thing of red and the blue, especially the blue, I want to focus on the blue, okay, which says, yes, it's a shared responsibility. So 40% of the counselors who answered the survey said that, yes, it's a shared responsibility. And then one of the questions that we'd asked them was that if it is a shared responsibility, what is the sharing that they're doing? Right? Now imagine this response which says there's a sir in the admin department who helps with generating prints for the documents required and making lists for internships.
Wow,
Is,
what a help.
is that assistance? Is that sharing?
That's a teamwork, ma'am.
Yeah, it is.
That's a teamwork.
Exactly. I'm glad you brought that up because so much of your time then goes in training someone, right? So in the beginning, you're actually increasing your work. Hopefully, the person sticks long enough, they will start contributing. But in the beginning, your work actually increases, right? So, and then when you see the principal's EA by getting and signing the stamping of documents, I mean, that's your job. You have to sign the document. That's not sharing my burden, right? So all it's not only about, and remember, these are people who answered yes, it's a shared responsibility. So there's a problem on both the ends. On one end, there's not an understanding or empathy enough of what is required. But on the other end, also, there is not a clear understanding of in what ways can others contribute.
Yes,
Okay, because this is not contribution. I would not count this as contribution or assisting, but obviously they are counting it as contribution, which is great. It's great for the psychological space that they are feeling that they're supported. That's very important too. But we really need to also be able to articulate and have, okay, so if I get 5 teachers, what am I going to do with them? So that's something we must understand. And this is what we're trying to address in the rest of the presentation. A very important, and I think Sudarshana ma'am is not here yet. But these are real quotes from the survey, and there were many, many more like this. Okay,
This is 50 survey. Some of them responses we are sharing here.
So this is what people have said about how they are feeling within their school setups in terms of the support that they're getting.
And we can resonate with it, I believe. We all can.
And imagine this one. Not for 17 years of my job as a career counselor, I've never felt supported or had a team. In 17 years, this must be a pioneer. Somebody who but the school must have also been a real pioneer, right? Because who was talking about career counseling 17 years back, right? And then she says that last year, and that even in one school by default, and I'm still battling with getting career classes set into academic timetables. Imagine that.
17 years, still
I mean,
struggling.
somebody with that kind of experience and still battling. So it is not, we're not alone in this. There's plenty of us who are facing same problems, right? And I love that last one. Can we go back? All innovative thoughts have to come from me. That's such a burden, right? I mean, anything new that happens has to come from me. I'm like, I feel you. I really feel you. I mean, it's difficult, right?
So after all this problem, we were thinking that there is a need to change our strategy, because problem is there, we all know, but how to fight this problem, where to find the solution. So we needed a strategy to change what we are facing. So we thought of coming to this conclusion that why not make each and every teacher, student, and old boys, what you alumni, and everybody, director, principals, anyone from administration department as well, make it part of that counseling program. Make them feel that they are part of it. It's their program. Then they will have ownership. And the minute you have ownership, then you work for it. Ye mera, ye tera nahi. It's ours. So when we have our, then definitely it will work. So this we tried.
Just take a second to acknowledge Manisha ma'am is finally here.
So Manisha ma'am is also from our school.
Our school, yeah.
She's a strong team member
And
who's
she's
working.
a business studies teacher. Right. Ma'am, you take this.
Okay, so here we are trying to make everyone part of it. As it's already written, teachers are, instead of a counselor going to various conferences, we are encouraging teachers to take students and have conversation, open conversation about the problems what they face. We have students. Just have a look on this. Last year we planned our what you call logo for our career counseling labs. So they were part of it. 11th are doing something. Old boys are a part of it. So we are involving each and everyone, and including not only this, we are including parents as well. So everybody is feeling yes. So if career counseling department is rising, it's because of me. That feeling, oh, main hu jo kar raha hu. So if you have that feeling, we are progressing, and thankfully we are progressing in that part. So that's a program where each and everybody is being involved. Now, this experiment we did last year, we had career fair, a big one, not a career fair so-called, career fair where universities are being called, but we had panel discussions, we had workshops, so many experts were there, faculty interaction. Apart from that, we had PTM. PTM itself is you all know, if you are all teachers, you know.
Especially in a boarding school, because in a boarding school, parents come in very, very rarely, right? In one semester, once they come in usually.
So we did it successfully. And ma'am, want to add something to it?
I was not there.
So yes, so we can pat ourselves.
We had the biggest show, the flagship program, the flagship event of the career guidance department. I wasn't present. I'd left a week before. Okay. And how can we come to that? And I'm telling you, I was flooded by messages from university folks saying, Sapna, you have the best students, you have the best teachers, such amazing stuff. Because the minute I stepped out, everybody else stepped in, because it became their event, and it was brilliant to watch. And I'm telling you, there I was sobbing on the other side wherever I was, because it was like, because I've done this before. We've had career fairs before, and it's like I'm running. I'm from making desks to putting in flexes to everything, and then I suddenly realized I have 100 people team working, right? So this is what we are aspiring towards, right?
It seems a rosy picture, but in every school it's not possible, right?
Yeah.
Not possible. And please raise your hand who all say that it's not humanly possible. Not in my school, at least. Please raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4.
It's difficult.
Very hard. It's difficult.
It's very difficult.
Yes,
Let's
thank
put
you.
it the other way. It's very, very difficult.
Difficult.
Right?
But how? We know that this is achievable because we have done it. But what is the way? So the next slide tells you about. Oh, sorry. Excitement.
So,
So
the,
this is
yeah.
letting go.
And in this, I think I thought this is not important.
This is the
And then
most
Nisha ma'am
important
said
slide.
that you really need to talk about
Yes,
this.
a counselor like me who's just got my degree yesterday.
Oh, yes. We have two
And
fresh
I've
graduates, by the way. Manisha ma'am.
Thank you,
about-
Manisha ma'am also.
Yeah.
So
Few
it's very,
fresh
very
graduates.
important for us when we have a full-time counselor who is there handling everything to get into and make your space in that career counseling department is a challenge. It's a challenge. How, what role she plays in our life and how we can contribute. I thought ma'am, please spend some time on this slide and I will talk from my point of view and you talk from your point of view.
Absolutely.
So these are some elements which are needed when we talk about letting it go. Ma'am, would you like to start?
So for me, letting it go, I'm telling you, it's difficult, okay? Because you've nurtured this beautiful baby, and you've studied it with everything that you think is perfect. So, I think I should have a boot camp at the beginning of a semester, and there should be the curriculum for that. And I think this should be this, then this should be that way, and all of that, right? And when you let other people in, of course, they're going to have ideas. They're going to critically analyze your work. Say, I don't think this works. No, ma'am, let's not do this in January, let's do it in March. And I'm thinking, listen, you don't know anything. Okay. If you do it in March, it's going to, but that's not how this is going to work, right? If you have to let other people in, you really have to bear yourself up for criticism, for questions, and sometimes go along with something, even if you don't fully agree with it, even if you know it's going to fail. Because once it fails, you'll realize that it's failing. Then they're going to come back and think, because obviously everybody is enthusiastic. Everybody has their own thoughts about how this should be done. Okay. And probably they don't match with you. And that's fine. That's absolutely fine, right? And then this is upon your personality. I mean, if as a person you are autocratic, and many of us are, and there's nothing wrong in being autocratic. Autocratics run the best, most organized things, right? Let's totally salute them. And then there's somebody who's more, democratic, who's a pushover. There's those also, right? And then somebody else takes over it completely and it's a mess, because that could also happen. So depending on your personality, you have to decide where you fit in this whole system of allowing other people to take over or come into your program, right? So that is something that's something that we should think about and kind of self-reflect, like, how is this going to happen? And the most important part of this is, will I be replaced? Because let's face it, all of us have those issues, right? That I have learned so much and I've created this beautiful, say, I have these college lists. They're wonderful. I've worked on them for 5 years. It's like my blood. I've made these beautiful presentations about different subjects, about stuff. It's hard work. And then suddenly these newbies coming in, or these 20 teachers, and I'm just supposed to share it all with them. I mean, I worked hard on this, right? So all of that is also very difficult, right? And of course, it will be different for everybody. You may feel that, I feel safe and secure enough to do this. And you may decide, no, I'm putting a boundary here. I'm not going to share things that I've created right now, maybe 2 years down the line. So wherever you are, but you need to be aware that this has happened to you.
Okay, thank you so much for that, ma'am. It was from the point of view of a well-established counselor. And very true, it's all about mindset. It's about mindset. How do you want newcomer to be welcomed in your team? So first thing is trust. What ma'am was saying, it's her hard work of 5 years, which she had worked on, beautiful presentations, documents and everything, sharing with the newcomer. Of course, she will have some reservations for that, but openly sharing it. I was just talking some days back, and I was just talking to a counselor, and she was saying, hey, I do a lot of work and I'm always stressed and so much to do. Then I said, why don't you team members? What are you saying, dear? If I share, then she will replace me. They are so young and I'm so old. So if you have that mindset, you will never ever grow, and you will always be cribbing about it, and you will not reach anywhere. So that trust has to be shown. And I'm happy to announce that Sapna ma'am has that, and she has always been so generous in sharing. Look, this is already done. So don't duplicate anything. Work on this. Bring your fresh ideas. So that trust is there. She's letting go her ideas and inviting new ideas to make it better. So it really requires courage. Apart from that, acceptance. Now I was a single person. I was getting everything, all praises, all applaud was mine. I will now be sharing it with so many. So have that heart. So second and third one is tolerance. As ma'am was saying, we as a newcomers, ma'am, ye aaj nahi, he'll do it someday. Someday, probably in April.
Sometimes the audacity tell me your presentation are not good enough. I'm like, okay.
Yes. So that is what. Then is sharing. At times you treat your team members as assistant. I've planned everything. You do one thing. You go and take the printout. You inform parents. You do this. You did. You're not involving that person as a team member. You are treating that person as an assistant. You call him or her a team member? No, I don't think so. So that is again a problem in most of our school. Though we have assistants, we call them assistants, but we don't have to call them assistants. We have to make them team members. So there is again mindfulness to be when we talk about assistance. Are we assisting? Are we a part of the team? And the last one is security. That security has to be from both ways. The head counselor should feel secure that this person is not going to take place, my place. So that's a responsibility of a newcomer to give that feeling to the counselor. Look, ma'am, you are there. We are just your partners. And we are thankful for that. So that feeling from our side, and the counselor should also give that feeling. Don't worry, bacha, you are my part. Come under my wings. I will make you fly. So that feeling, if you have that relationship, then definitely it will work. And what we were talking about, this is possible. Now tell me, how many of you think it is possible? Thank you. Thank you so much. Now, yes. Thank you so much. So we made a point for letting it go for both ways. Now coming to the next one.
Going back to the brass sticks of it. As a career guidance program, I think all of you are aware, these are the 4 components that we largely work on. Okay. So self-awareness, where we're doing psychometric. I put psychometric there because that's one of the main things to understand self-awareness by. But of course, there are a lot of other things that we do. There's college awareness, in which college fair becomes one big component, but there are lots of other things that we're doing all the time. There's career awareness, and then there is college placement. So the brass tacks of the work, if you look at it as a career guidance program, these are the 4 components. And we can add a little bit more, but largely it's this. We'll go a little quickly now. But when we started running it as a shared responsibility, we realized that a lot more was possible, right? For example, and this is one little example, when we started the career guidance program in the school, we're a regular CBSE school, right? So section A in 11th is PCM. Section B is PCB. Section C is commerce. And section D, math, like whatever. And then section E is humanities. Usual CBSE school structure, right? And then I'm like, okay, this is beautiful. This is the way you've been working, but this doesn't work for us anymore. Because if your kids are looking abroad, with so much interdisciplinary, and we're talking about interdisciplinary teaching and all of that in the school in a big way, actually, in our school. And then, yeah, sure. I'm going to bring that up too. I'm glad I will definitely talk about that. So what we thought was that we do beautiful stuff till 10th, where we're actually having, say, a being taught by a physics, a Hindi, and an art teacher together in our school, in one classroom, right? So, and we're doing that. But by the time they come to 11, it's not happening. Okay. And then, so of course, when we went to the administration, it was like, but logistic issues, like if a child takes, if a section 8 child takes psychology, which class will he miss? from this? And where will he be? So those kind of questions, right? And these are valid points, right? But then when it became like, when we were able to understand that, this is why we want this. This is why we want to expand the choices. And I understand your problem, okay? But you understand this issue. And then we've come up with such a brilliant and such a simple answer for that. And that's another presentation for another day. But basically, where we have opened it up horizontally. So a psychology class is happening in section E at the same time as a physics class is happening in section A, and a child is happily possible for him to walk into section E class for that particular class. So just by that one small mindset change and a little bit of tinkling around in our we've been able, now our kids can have 60 subject choices. It's suddenly opened up, right? So with these dialogues, a lot more is possible rather than doing it on your own. Okay. Coming to your question also. So subject selection guidance, of course, many of us do this together, reimagining trans, what they look like. Unless you have the whole team putting in the effort, it won't change. It's very difficult. And then the last, which you talked about, high priority and resource allocation to career guidance. Ma'am,
Yeah, he wants to talk about this
increasing the budget. Increasing the
because we
budget.
are adding this.
When I started, my budget was 15,000 rupees. This year, I'd asked for a budget of 10 lakhs actually. And I thought that was a lot. And then when this whole career guidance fair, and it took a life of its own, it's become very huge because now everybody has ideas about what has to be done. And then ma'ams are like, if they're coming all the way, we must give them back. And in that conference, we got that bag. In that conference, we got this bottle. We want to give them this also. And like the budget is going like horribly out of my control. And then I went and I checked with the accounts department. Actually, I've been allocated 20 lakhs.
Wow. Wow.
Right? And when I went back to the director and said, how? He's like smiling and saying, I knew this will happen. Right? So because now it's everybody's baby. Right?
Share
They all
responsibility.
care about it. It's not you buying your child clothes anymore. The whole world is buying your child clothes. So you have a beautiful wardrobe, right? Because the administration is feeling that things are changing, that stuff is happening, and that if we allocate more money, it will be used wisely, it will be frittered away. So the only thing that I think we're doing is on our end being very transparent about how the money is being spent, asking every time, even if it's in my budget, even then I would always ask again, even if it's just a message. And luckily for us, we have this wonderful director who is very, very responsive. I could very easily say, so we're liking this bottle, it's costing 180 rupees. Can we go ahead? And it's like, yes. On a WhatsApp, done. Right? We're lucky that way. Many of you may not be as lucky, right? And I understand that. It takes time. It takes time, right? But that happens, And to me, that happens beautifully if they're testing you. When you come in, when I came in, I had to sign on a register. I've reached the school, and I'm leaving the school. It happens, right? Now, I'm not required to do that anymore. I have not signed a register for 2 years. Nobody asks. Because I think they know that whichever part of the world she is in, she's advocating for the school, she's working for the students, nobody's going to suffer. It's going to be taken care of. So that's a thing that you kind of develop, that integrity. There is no replacing that integrity, and that has to show through, and it will show through your work if you're doing it properly.
I just want to add one line to it, what you are saying, how to convince our board. It's today's world is about building connection.
Yeah.
So if you have one-to-one parallel connection with your authorities, make them feel confident in you, and transparency, as ma'am was saying, they will definitely work with you to allocate more, because they also want growth. They want to also get in limelight. So they will get, once you give that confidence, sir, move, we are backing you. This will give results.
And as
then
you can
definitely
see,
that confidence is there, and they will.
And as you can see, she's very good at that.
So we have
She's
to
very, very good at that, right?
soft skills really plays great role.
Yeah.
So as we showed that slide, when we talk about as an academic teacher, as you have seen on the first slide, I'm a academic teacher. I'm teaching accountancy, and at times we feel, "Kya career counseling? Career counseling? We have to teach and we have to complete our syllabus. End of the day, they have to give boards. Come on, it looks so fancy. The career counseling. What about the class? They're all missing classes. How will we cover up our syllabus? So, how many of you agree to this? Wow, everybody! Wow, wow, wow. Yes. So we are sailing here in that boat here, जहाँ पे syllabus नहीं खत्म हो रहा है, and you are talking about career counseling. Pass हो जाएंगे तो बनाएंगे. So that kind of feeling at times we get it, but it's possible to adjust your academic with career counseling department. How we did it? How we did it? By mapping of consent. Ma'am was talking about it. We did vertical mapping. If you want to get clear idea, because we are falling short of time, we'll talk about it later. And apart from vertical mapping, we did horizontal mapping as well, which really saved our time. We had a lot of time to do career counseling. Apart from that, that's a beautiful thing, dynamic timetable. No more substitutions. How many of you go for substitutions? Many of us, right? So if you are going for substitution, don't you think that you can productively use that time for career counseling? Definitely we can. So this is one of the concepts. If you want to know about it, at your we are available after this session.
You should spend 1 minute explaining what a dynamic.
Okay. Now what happened? We are also busy. At times we have planned chuttis. We have planned holidays we want to take. So if we inform our authorities beforehand, they make adjustments in such a way the week you are here, you will get extra time, extra periods. So you adjust and you are able to complete your syllabus also. And when you go back, because you are given extra period, then some teacher must be free. Obvious. So when you go back, that teacher will get the time, their own classes, not substitution. They will get their time and you are enjoying your holidays or whatever work you are taking. So that time is being utilized for career counseling. That's a dynamic, and there is a software for it. We can talk about that. So that's a really...
It's not necessarily being used for career counseling only. Supposing ma'am is away, she's the accountancy teacher. Her periods will not be taken by any other teacher just for the sake of taking a period. Because of the dynamic timetable, it can change every day. There's somebody changing it. She's away, the math teacher, and because it's all already mapped. So in the beginning of every semester, they give that we need 40 hours with, or we need 12 hours with this class, or we need 30 hours with this class. The person who's the director of academics who's doing this knows that, the math teacher's not had the time. So let's give these periods to the math teacher, informed well in advance. So the teacher is also aware, right? So everybody knows and everybody gets their time as they need it. But all the free periods add up to a lot of extra time that we get to do other stuff.
And I'm able to complete my syllabus as well and board exams. Okay. Now, yes. Vertical mapping. Okay. So this is horizontal and vertical. Every class has some concepts. So you want to click picture, please do. We wanted to adjust everything on one page. So that is why
Nisha ma'am will send the presentation.
I will do that. Okay. So this is horizontal. This really helps us. Interdisciplinary classes and all the new stuff which new education policy is talking about. It's really helping us with horizontal mapping.
Though I have to tell you this for my school, this is much before the NEP was brought in.
Yes.
Right? So yeah, we're forward thinking.
So now this is what one thing which we have added. We do talk about portfolio development and writing essays and writing LORs. All that. So when a child comes to you, ma'am, mera LOR likh dena, please. And you are only teaching him or her for the very first year. Then they are asking you to write LOR. How can you do that? So if you have this monitoring of conceptual clarity, there's a chart. Every week, a child is, every teacher has to fill this where the child stands. So if a teacher is aware of all the cards, whatever it's there, so the teacher can know the progress of the child, how good he or she is in some concepts. Is he progressing? Is he putting efforts? So it's become easy for us to make his story real, especially in LORs.
Also very helpful in subject choices.
Yes.
And
yes,
when
yes.
kids want to change subjects, right? Because it's very easy to go back and ask, say, a physics teacher, which concept is the child struggling with? Because they have that right there. So it's very, very comfortable.
So whether his science is strong or chemistry is strong or what maths is strong, so you start, what ma'am is saying, subject choices also becomes easy. So that's a very, very good thing. We have made little changes in our academics, but again, the picture is not that rosy, ma'am.
Coming back to the survey, right? Because this is what we've done, and we've kind of shared what we've done till now. We've been adding. This was done about in December, so we've added a lot more after that. We're now working across the road also. So now the team is growing in that sense. The two things that I want to talk about is one, this, in which I showed you all the yellows where it was like, this is what we're not getting, and all the negative comments. And to also show you the positive comments that we got, right? That there are people who are feeling they're getting some kind of help in the school. How does that look like in their school? And I found this very one especially where the counselor was saying that, when there's a difficult parent-child conflict in terms of subject or career choices, it's not me alone. We sit together, the principal, the subject teacher, the class teacher, and myself as a career counselor, we sit together and we talk to the parents and the child. Now that's beautiful, right? Because if you're doing it alone, I don't have the whole subject understanding to be able to explain why engineering may not be the right choice for your child, right? And then the principal usually look up to the principal. So if the principal is there, then they're more likely to listen. The head of the school is telling me the same thing. So it kind of helps to have a bigger team on your side, right? And there are many more examples like that. Ma'am, next. So what from the survey, what I understood is that how team and how support looks in our school can go anywhere on the scale. And I've not taken a scale as in a point, but in terms of quotations from the survey, right? So if you see the first one, the least amount of support, no shared anything. I was a one-man army. They failed to do it. That is why I left my organization. And a brilliant counselor, okay, who had to leave the organization. Then you come to the next where it says, no support, but they just want reports from me. Okay, seems very familiar, right? The third one, where they say, okay, administration is there for the important events. They're taking care of subject choices, but otherwise I'm doing my work on my own. To the fourth, which is so beautiful, our school looks up to us to bring in fresh ideas. Because actually a career counselor has window into so many schools and has a window into universities children are going. So they actually have a very forward, outward outlook compared to anybody else in the school setup. Because a principal can't go to another school and expect to be shown what's actually happening there, right? But we on our counselor networks are listening, and we know what's happening in other schools, right? All of us know what's happening in other schools.
That means not memory, but ears of elephant as well.
And observation. We're observing. Okay, that school's doing something brilliant there. And I'll immediately write it off either to her or to the school director or to the headmaster. Can we think of doing this? Because obviously we have that great window. And to the last one, which a counselor, and I called up that counselor, where the counselor has a role in the annual faculty appraisal. Okay, do you think that's a good thing?
Please raise your hand. I was little skeptical about this. Like, ma'am, what are you saying? My appraisal done by a counselor? Well, I am against
It's a
it.
good thing.
But
Okay,
do you? It's good.
it's
Okay,
a mixed
ma'am,
bag.
It's a mixed bag, and ma'am will explain
I'll tell you
why.
why. I spoke to the counselor. She no longer works for that school. She said, I made so many enemies. Everybody hated me. How will you get the team to work with you if you basically looked as an outsider, right? Isse kuch nahi batana hai actual. You can't share anything with them. So
Can't talk about team then.
yeah.
Every time you are conscious, she's judging me. She
Right.
will be praising me. So that's the
probably
feeling.
it works for you. It works in your school, but I would not want to go to that position because I very much want to be part of my team. You know, we have common enemies. That's the better thing. And whoever's appraising you is always an enemy. Let's face it.
So basically, these are not our thoughts. These are the ideas which are proposed by 50 responses
But
which
you
we
can
have
see
got.
the scale, right? The continuum, right? Ma'am, let's move to the next. Some questions that we were left with, okay, after the survey, okay? How do you get a buy-in? And that's, I think, the biggest one. How do you get a buy-in? And we shared about how to get a buy-in according to us. I think for me, one of the biggest buy-ins was helping and making it my business to worry about the faculty's children. Okay, because in most of our schools, the faculty kids are studying with us, right? And that is a very easy entry point. If you can make them your children and worry about them, then half your battle is won. Because then they become partners automatically, right? The other question which we're still struggling with is, what are we offering against their time and effort? So it's all right to say, and the school director will send a message, assign these 5 people. Okay. Now, these 5 people, what are they getting? Why should they be assigned? Why should they take on your extra responsibility? Would you go and teach them math class or the English class? No, you won't. Right? So, what are we giving in return? And that's, I don't have an answer to this one. Mr. Ma'am, what are you getting in return?
Next slide will be showing that as well.
All right. Okay. The third thing which is very disturbing, and this came from the survey, whenever I read, I'm feeling very supported, went back and verified, they were counselors. They were part-time, they were expert counselors who were being invited in to work at school. Why are we rolling out the red carpet for outside counselors and treating our in-house counselors like dirt? You know, so if an outside counselor comes in, we have the list ready. These are the 5 students who need to talk to you. When they give you some assignment, it is done, right? But when an inside counselor says, I need to talk to say 40 kids, nobody's even willing to come in and help to say, okay, 5 kids will stand outside and wait while you finish, and we'll take notes of what you're discussing. Anybody's tried to have a heart-to-heart and also take notes? It doesn't work, right? You want to be looking into the child's eyes. You don't want to be doing tuck, 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 tuck at the same time. So something as simple as that, but we don't get that as inside counselors.
But ma'am, on lighter note, they get chai samosa as well. And before time, we don't get. So that is one point we need to take care of.
Welcome to the bouquet.
So that also happens, ma'am.
And then career and college counselors need where's the time? Are you giving us an extra time within our school schedules to say, okay, if she has a free period, it's not that she's villa, she's probably learning something, which is very important for her job, right? And then last question, which we in our presentation have not touched upon at all. When you do have more help, when you're a school with more than one counselor, like we're not a school with more than one counselor, full-time counselor, right? But there's schools with 3 full-time counselors, 4 full-time counselors, or whatever, ad hoc counselors. How do you divide your work? How do you give roles? And then how do you give credit? Because that's also important. Right? So how is that going to be done? So that's
probably next time we can work on this presentation, how to enroll and what role responsibility, what are SOPs of a counseling office. We can work on that, ma'am.
And she said probably, but she's going to make me do it.
Okay. So as we were talking about the 6th point, how can we rope in all? And the major part is we are talking about faculty. So this is the faculty, ma'am. Would you like to?
So these are again answers from the counseling survey, because we've already shown what we've done, right? So most of the people said on the left, what you see, most of the things that academic faculty is already helping us with. Okay, subject choices, providing support, all of that. But as you go towards 5, 6, 7, 8, not as much, not happening as much. Okay, and here is where you can expand it. So if you start cheering your faculty, they will then start finding reasons to cheer you, okay, forward. And then what can you do for them? How can you support them? What I've realized is a lot of high school teachers want to grow in their own work. So we have a teacher who likes storytelling. We have a teacher who wants to do a PhD. We have a teacher who wants to get an extra certificate in, say, English language teaching or whatever it is. So how can we help them reach their own goals? It's not about us all the time, right?
So I just want to add what we are doing. But when we make the program, our program, just have a look on this, invite teachers for my panel discussion. And when we give teachers voice and choice to talk about their problems, then definitely they are part of our team. So that we do here. And from their perspective, their eyes, how counseling looks like, child whom they are dealing day in and day out, whether the child will to make it or not make it, their suggestion is equally important. So, and let me give 1 minute to this, give credit publicly. Now, let me tell you, share one thing. We had a boot camp. So, fantastic boot camp. And then ma'am made a card, thank you card. So it was writing my name, Nisha, Manisha, and Sapna. So she sent it in a group and she was asking, is any correction required in that? So I told her, ma'am, why not your name in front? You are leading. So she said, that's the reason I'm at the back. So this is the face which she's showing to everybody. Look, this is my team. They are working and I'm just part of it. So when you get that feeling, that faculty gets that feeling, definitely you are part of the team. So this is what ma'am is doing. And now comes the major part. Some of you must be interested in this administration part. Ma'am.
So there's no rocket science here, right? And some of us have a more easily supportive admin, and some of us have less easily supportive admin. I think that the key is to figuring out what is the key value that's driving your admin. Okay, so if the key value of your admin is more admissions, if that is what they're looking at, you project your program as something that can help them get more admissions, because actually that's in your power, right? Because better admissions to colleges or better outcomes, and how that can be used to get better admissions or better inside the school, right? If your admin cares a lot about high academic growth in the students, like very good CBSE results, if that drives them, then you work with the staff. You get them involved in math classes or in psychology classes or whatever. This year our geography department didn't do too well, supposing, in marks were too low. You can get a university geography professor to work with your geography staff and develop your curriculum better, and to get some better pedagogy involved. You really are very powerful in that sense. So whatever is the story that your admin is dealing with, you put your program out there to do that. It's a very flexible program, right? So that would be one. Anything else, ma'am?
Yes, very much. Now, when we say you understand teacher's story as well, train them. And how that training helps you in career counseling is equally important. So as a career counselor, and you convince the administrator, look, this child, or sorry, this teacher is good in this area. Why not we train that teacher and we can utilize her expertise or his expertise in this area of career counseling. So that's again the second point we are talking about. And important thing, fourth point, finance. Yes, we are doing extra work apart from our academic work. So finance or money is the greatest motivation. We all believe in that. That's why we are here. So ma'am has been struggling. We are supporting her in her struggle so that she becomes successful. Ultimately, we'll get that benefit. So our management has started thinking over giving us some financial support as well. Some allowances will be soon be announced. I
Hopefully.
am hoping. Apart from that, if you motivate a teacher, now she goes, now this time only she went for a university visit. UK, ma'am?
Yes.
US. You went to US. She brought bag full of goodies for us. And politely, dear, this is for you. And we opened it. Oh my goodness. A lot of goodies were there. So this is again a kind of motivation a teacher is getting. It's not, you are sharing what is given to you. So that makes a lot of difference. At times, there are certain trips planned. As a counselor, you go to various university, various visits are there. Instead of you sacrifice yourself and look, why don't you go and try? And you are, ooh, this time I'm getting all allowances. It has been paid holidays sort of, and I'm learning a bit. So that is again a kind of motivation, though you call it financial or not. That's again a question mark. But yes, so this can also be done. So these are the suggestions, and our management is also following it.
And I'll tell you one thing, you have to put yourself out there for your team. I know about the financial motivation or getting them off duties. I've been talking about it, and I've had my admin really throw me out of the office almost, saying, What are you saying? We don't give anything extra for this. And I'm like, okay. And then after 2 months again, I will go and sugarcoat it again and say, listen, like, I know they work too much. Like, can I? And I've been thrown out at least 4 times.
There is a
already.
word in Hindi, deet. So we all have to be deet to get what we deserve.
Yeah, and
So one
not
day we'll
only
get
what
it.
we deserve, but let's be fair to the people who are helping us. So it's not, I'm not asking for an increment only for my salary, but also for the other person, right? Because if they're helping me, then I am their advocate.
Really thinking of clapping for her. Please do clap. Yay. So we will get someday. So coming, shall
I
we?
think we should stop.
So these are some ideas which
Work.
which
And I
work
think
for
we should-
us. And if you want to click,
So I'm not, these are ideas from the survey actually more than us. When we haven't done the newsletter yet. These are ideas for us also.
this one.
Yeah.
But rest we are all doing, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So apart from that, and the last one you want to?
Yeah,
Thank.
absolutely. All the 50 counselors who took out the time and answered the survey, because this was so important for us. We want, this is not a journey that we are going through alone. I think all of us, whichever school we are working in, is a journey we are going through. We don't have a perfect program. I don't think it's possible to get a perfect program in that sense, because it is almost, it's going to keep changing, and that's what it's going to be. And that's good, because we don't want to stagnate. And everybody, all of these people, they answered, they took the time, and yeah. And I'm going to close with this little quote that Soma has said. It says counseling cannot.
Some of
That's
them are here. Yay! You wave your hands. Oh, good.
Everybody who
Yes.
answered. Right?
Okay.
This the last one. Just read it. It's so beautiful, right? It's not a program that can belong to any one person or any one department, no matter how strong and how well funded that department or program is. So beautiful.
So she's ending, but I will take one more minute. The takeaway. What is the takeaway from this session? The takeaway is, I believe, this one. Yes, are we a package having everything? But it's not possible for us to work alone. So we need everyone in and out, all. And that's why we call this program a holistic program where everybody has its role to play. It's our program. Thank you so much.